I find it interesting that there's always been a sacrifice for sin. Before Jesus, we had guilt offerings and sin offerings and burnt offerings. They would burn bulls and goats and sheep. And then we had Jesus, and Jesus had to be sacrificed. And I wonder if anybody has an exclamation for this, but I'm curious as to what the necessity is for there to be a sacrifice. Sin does something where there has to be some sort of a removal of it from our spirit or our consciousness, our being. And there were instances where there was tens of thousands of animals sacrificed at once. And then Jesus came around, and we don't need to do that anymore. But we still have to have his sacrifice for us to be able to have our ascension, have our, what's the term? But our salvation. And so I'm curious, what is that about? And then, of course, they talk about when you know that Jesus, his sacrifice is for your sin, you have to sacrifice sin in order to maintain your salvation, because you can't keep sinning once, you've heard the good news and have learned, truly come to know God and come to know Jesus. And so it's interesting that there is a sacrifice for sin, and then you need to sacrifice sin in order to have salvation. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about that. I'm not trying to sound all philosophical or anything, but, I am wondering what that is. So if y'all have any insights about it, please let me know.